I'll be honest, there's been a lot on my mind over the past few days, but one of those, weirdly, has been the mob vote. I'm not particularly invested in any of the free options, but there has been a huge development regarding the crab claw that I think most people need to know about if they're going to be casting theirs, and also there is a huge petition that suggests that the mob vote might not even go ahead because it has over 300,000 signatures, 70,000 of those today, and it's getting very close to 500,000 people telling Mojang to stop the mob vote. Why is that happening? Well, let's dive into it in today's video, because I've come to a sunflower plains biome in a place that very well reflects the mood, looking at the weather, to talk about it a little bit with you, because the mob vote is a very big thing that is happening super soon as this video is being recorded, and so let's explain why you should care. There is a lot of important information, and I'm going to be giving it to you as I go for a walk through rural Lincolnshire, I think I'm in right now. Anyway, with that said, it's important to note the pretext for all of this is that there is a Minecraft Live mob vote happening this Sunday when the community will be deciding between a crab, an armadillo, and a penguin to be added to Minecraft. Whichever one gets the most votes is something Mojang will be adding to the game, whereas the other two will not be added anytime too soon, and this is something which is controversial. However, it's also interesting because the reason to vote between these three mobs is basically based on the ability that it provides you. The armadillo is going to give you dog armor, which has some questions. The penguin is going to provide you with faster boat movement, which has questions, because will it be the mob being nearby you like a dolphin, or is it something you can actively put on there? Who knows for sure. Whereas finally, the crab will give you a crab claw, which is very simple. It allows you to place blocks from further away. And honestly, I can see why the community is torn between the crab and the armadillo here. People love dog armor, but they also would love to place blocks from further away. Who wouldn't, right? However, the tweet that I think really started this whole debate is this one from Mr. Cat, where it is the best sales pitch for the crab claw I've ever seen. It is that the only reason you need a crab claw is this situation right here. We've all had it. We've all been in this exact place. It's a universal Minecraft experience, wanting to chop down that last block in a tree and having to stack yourself up for some reason because the reach isn't just about as far as you'd really like it to be. It is so unbelievably frustrating, and this is something that could be solved with the crab claw. I was basically converted right then and there as a crab voter. I don't care about any of your opinions otherwise, but I want this to be fixed. But obviously, as this community note, it's funny that Twitter community notes are usually used for like news and like fact checking. In this case, it's used for Minecraft Live mob vote checking, where they confirmed that actually they haven't said right now whether or not the crab claw will do that, or the only thing they said specifically in the trailer is it will let you place blocks further away. Indeed, there are questions about how the crab claw would work as a whole. How do you get it from crabs is one question. Will it, is it a passive item or is it an active item? Do you equip the crab claw and then you always have the extended reach, or do you have to hold it out? Also, what is the extended reach? How many blocks are we talking about here? That could be a big difference. It could be an extra half a block or 1 block or something like that. Or we could go all the way up to 10 block reach, which would make a very big difference. Also, is the extended reach even useful? Again, to come back to this, can you use it for block placing or not? However, it seems as though Minecraft might have inadvertently given us the answers, because when you go to Minecraft China Edition, they are participating in the vote for the first time this year, which is very interesting. They once had their own vote. Fun fact, the panda is a mob vote mob. We could have had a pink river dolphin, but Minecraft China players specifically wanted the panda. And more interestingly is the fact that the Minecraft China Edition has obviously a different set of text, because it's a very segregated version of the game. It has to be approved by the Chinese government on lots of levels, and so one of the things that means is their mob vote text is entirely different, partially because it's written in Chinese, as you can see here, but that means that when you translate it, you get slightly different messages. And although these mostly translate to the same things, allow me to read to you exactly what they put for the crab. Crabs have huge arms and look both simple and charming, although if you then go into the details more, you can read that they occasionally wave to players with large arms. That's very cute. Crabs may lose the huge arm, and adventurers can get this huge crab arm, and it will provide longer reach distance when breaking and placing blocks, brackets, wow, and need to use kelp for feeding / breeding crabs. This is very interesting because it implies that either the Minecraft live team in China have gone rogue and just made up their own details, or indeed that in the Minecraft China Edition, because of the way they're presenting the monster people, they're giving way more details, the much more important ones that will actually affect you. Although, for what it's worth, when it comes to the questions we have about, say, penguins, this is, explained as the swimming speed being as fast as dolphins, but otherwise, basically nothing here is new, and the same is basically true for the armadillo, but the crab specifically clarifies something very interesting. This was broken by Zhao Chenfu, who is someone who translates the Minecraft China stuff, and in this case, it is a very big deal, people. However, that means that they did this Mr. Cat dirty, right? Because he posted this about why you should vote for the crab, and obviously it seemed like he was wrong, but the Minecraft China Edition vindicates him. And indeed, all week I've had people getting in contact with me specifically to say this is important. Everyone needs to know that the crab can actually reach further distances, and this would have made a big difference until Minecraft China updates their description to say that crab claws can no longer help players break further away blocks. That is not to say that they won't be able to, but it's not confirmed, meaning that I think the China Edition just kind of ran with something. Admittedly, in translation, small things can be lost in error, but this means that it's much less likely that the crab will be fed with kelp, for example, and so this makes the additional information even harder to understand. What is actually official when it comes to the mobs and what is just kind of vibes is something a lot of people get confused by, which is why so many are against the mob vote as a whole. How are we meant to decide between 3 brand new gameplay mechanics when we don't truly know the details? The whole point of the mob vote is meant to be that we as the community can help Mojang decide, between some of their ideas, but if there is an issue with getting good ideas into the game, then why should they be doing this at all? Indeed, there is a big movement that has begun that I alluded to at the start of the video to stop Minecraft Live and the mob votes altogether. It is absolutely fascinating to me to see that this one has 354,000 signatures. That's the time of me taking the screenshot. By the time Harrison goes and edits this video, it's now at this number of signatures. Why is it a change.org petition to put an end to the mob vote? It is such a wild thing on the surface, but people are basically saying that when they're scrapping great ideas, they shouldn't be doing this. Mojang are always saying that the hardest part of the reason modders can put something into the game in a day when it takes them much longer is not just the very long process, but also working out which ideas should be in the game. If Mojang are admitting these 3 ideas are all good enough to potentially go in the game, maybe they should just go ahead and add all 3. It would solve a lot of problems. This is something I see the community arguing, but I just think it's one of the dumbest arguments I've ever seen, and the fact that there's 350,000 petitions makes me want to see their side, and I guess I understand it if you are looking at it from an ideas perspective, that there are 2 great mobs the community is going to get attached to, but I also think it needs to be said that there are not just 10 possible ideas in a given Minecraft update. I know that they're starting to convince us as a community that, yeah, about 10, 12, 20 features is really about as many as can happen, but actually there are dozens of things that Mojang could add in a given update. I think the biggest example of this is the Nether update, which came out huge, by the way. It was one of the biggest updates we ever had, but there are so many ideas, indeed the early prototypes for the Warden, an early prototype for a dragon swimming in the lava, so many different things were worked on at some point during the Nether update, but never made it to the final release, and that's because there are more ideas than things they can actually develop given the time. The mob vote, therefore, is actually one of the smartest ways to filter out these ideas, and if anything, it shouldn't be that there are fewer mob votes. Indeed, people want to take it from 1 to 0, but there should be much more. If Minecraft is going to spend a lot of time working on a brand new feature, for example, a brand new biome, maybe it should be one the community are more enthused about. I feel like the Mangrove Swamp did not inspire people in the same way that the Cherry Grove bit did. The same is true for the dolphins or the striders, which capture people's imaginations much better than perhaps the panda or the llamas did, although for what it's worth, both of those were technically different versions of mob votes. I think that you can make an argument that if there are a limited amount of times you can spend on things, it should be what the community really wants most, but where the problem starts to lie is that what the community wants most in these votes really does not match up with the end result in the game. The alley was seen as really, really popular from its description, and then the end result is basically forgotten about by the majority of people. The fox was part of a mob vote at one point, if you'll believe it, but I can tell you right now, it is one of those few mobs that exist in the game, basically for ambience reasons alone, it seems as though, right? So I feel as though when you take a mob and you say that the community are going to vote on it, the community can't really know until the feature is fully developed, but if the feature has to be fully developed, then the point of having the community vote starts to feel a little bit silly, and that is the big problem that Mojang really has right now. What do they do about the problem of people wanting to, it's weird, I even saw, this is the most insane tweet I read, but it was someone saying, actually, maybe we shouldn't cancel the mob votes, we should just stop giving details on them, because right now people are just going to vote based on the item, but then you just be voting based on vague concepts. This is the problem that the mob vote starts to expose. As the community are trying to collectively decide on something, there are necessarily going to be losers, and I think that's why so many people are disappointed. Statistically speaking, the majority majority of people are not going, the plurality at least, are not going to get what they want at Sunday's vote. There might be 45% of people who agree that the crab is great or the armadillo is great at some point, but it does look as though the majority, you know, penguins and crab voters or penguins and armadillo voters are going to be real sad that something they thought would be an awesome Minecraft edition is not coming to the game. In the end, it's kind of like if Mojang did snapshots by saying, yeah, we'll try out 3 updates for the next update and then not release 2 of them. Imagine if they released the Caves and Cliffs snapshots, then they released the World Update snapshots, then they released the Tales and Trails snapshots, and then people had to decide between the 3 of the updates. Really, you would just say, well, I mean, you've done all the work, surely we can have them now, which is where the big misunderstanding comes from. What, you know, I think this is something that really came across of the King Bee thread, where King Bee Dogs thread, where he kind of explained quite well, like, what it takes to bring a feature to Minecraft, all the testing between the various platforms. It is an insane amount of work that Minecraft has to go through that isn't very obvious to the end user. How do they make that more obvious, and how do they communicate that much better is something I don't really know the answer to, but what I can say for now is that they shouldn't cancel the mob vote over this. I think this is such a throwing the toys out of the pram moment. Like, just, if you don't like how a mob vote is going, it doesn't mean it's a bad concept. Adding democracy to a game is good if you're going to do it right. I released a video last year where I basically said that people are going to get more and more upset with these, and it seems as though it's a way to teach people about real democracy. Like, yep, everyone goes and votes, and then the people who didn't get what they wanted are unhappy, and then the people who thought they were voting for something realize they were actually voting for something else, and it really does feel as though that's what Minecraft is trying to teach you. And, you know, power to Minecraft for teaching us all important lessons about the world. But assuming that that's not what they're actually trying to do, I do think there is a clear communication issue in how the mob vote works. And also, by doing a mob vote every year, it is adding to the large number of mobs they're adding to Minecraft, which it seems as though the number of useless mobs is going up, basically proportional with the number of mobs that are being voted. The best mobs of the last few years, I would argue the camel is better than the sniffer, almost certainly, right? I think the warden is better than the, I think it goes without saying the warden is better than the alley, but also the frog is better than the alley, and the frog was a second place option. People specifically didn't vote for it, and so yeah, I think there is something to be said for the mob votes not being a very good indication of the quality of a mob. If people enjoyed the frogs more than they enjoyed whatever won that year, actually, was that the fox year or was that the goat year? I think in either case, for what it's worth, the only thing that you need to know is that you should vote for the Savannah biome at Minecraft Live this Sunday. If we all, you know, people are saying if we all vote for nothing, they have to add all 3. What if we all vote for the Savannah biome? They're going to have to add it anyway. If you don't see the right-in option, just keep voting Savannah. Just, you know, we got to do our best to make sure that no matter what, none of the 3 mobs make it into the game, and instead they update the Savannah biome as they are meant to, and this is my movement this year, I'm telling you. Anyway, I appreciate, I've had a lot of condolence messages over the last while, and I want to say, from the bottom of my heart, it is a very warming thing to see how many people on the internet care about someone they have no necessary... Nope, my phone fell. Sorry, I dropped my phone there at the end, but just to finish up, I want to say that I really appreciate all the condolences that have been sent my way. The last week, I've been very unable to do a lot of work, so thank you so much to Harrison for keeping the channel going. But this is one of the few things, you know, the divisiveness of the mob vote has helped me realize that one of the few things where I've had no negative comments, no one being like, oh, suck it up, pussy, is something like this. It's been non-stop. Really positive things, and even though all of them have just a tiny bit of something in there, together it has added up to being something that's really useful, and so thank you to all of that. I've been extra aware of my own mortality this last week, weirdly enough, and so I've just been, given that it's been hard to do a lot of stuff, I've been just kind of exploring a little bit, and so that's why I'm in rural Lincolnshire right now. Been trying to speak to various family and friends from forever ago, and so yeah, I'll be back home this weekend for sure for Minecraft Live, but until then, I hope you don't mind. Things are going to be a tiny bit inconsistent, but thank you for sticking around. Like this video if you like it, and subscribe if you're somehow new around here. If you're new around here, don't check any previous videos. Just I'm sad because I dropped a muffin on the ground last Friday, and that's all it is. So you don't have to worry. It's nothing more than that. So yeah, thank you for watching. Goodbye.